The moment King Charles draws his final breath, everything Harry and Meghan have spent years clinging to reportedly begins to crumble. Within 24 hours, sources claim their lives could shift so violently and so permanently that there may be no road back. According to royal commentators, William has been quietly preparing for this exact moment for a very long time, and the machinery is already said to be in place. And it will not stop with Harry and Meghan. Reports suggest Archie and Lilibet could be pulled down right alongside them. Here are 12 things Harry and Meghan may reportedly lose within a single day of Charles' passing, and according to insiders, they would be powerless to stop a single one of them. So which loss will cut the deepest? Stay with me, because the final one may be the most devastating of all. It reportedly begins with their titles. The instant Charles is gone, royal observers suggest Harry and Meghan's standing as Duke and Duchess of Sussex hangs by a thread. Charles, for all the pain he reportedly endured, never moved to strip a single thing away. He was a father before he was a king. William, by many accounts, is built differently. Within the first day of his reign, he could reportedly issue what is known as letters patent, royal decrees only a sitting sovereign can sign, drawing a hard and permanent line between working royals and everyone else. The styles of His and Her Royal Highness could reportedly vanish from every official context. And that is where their entire empire allegedly starts to wobble. Think about what props it up: the Netflix deal, the Archewell Foundation, the speaking fees worth hundreds of thousands per appearance. Every brand partnership was reportedly built on one quiet truth: that they were still royal in some meaningful sense. Strip that away and the question becomes brutal. Who exactly are Harry and Meghan without it? And what are they really selling? Because the corporate partners signing those enormous checks are reportedly about to ask that very question. And according to palace sources, none of this would catch William off guard. His legal team reportedly spent years drafting letters patent language designed to be impossible to challenge in any court, including in California. Every loophole allegedly identified and sealed long before Charles was gone. But if losing their own title stings, what reportedly happens to Archie and Lilibet could be the wound that never heals. These are children who did nothing wrong, born into a rift they never created. When Charles became king in 2022, a long-standing rule automatically elevated his grandchildren to prince and princess, living proof that despite the Oprah interview and everything that followed, the Sussex children still belonged to something ancient. Within 24 hours of William's reign, that proof could reportedly begin to disappear. William could simply issue a court circular omitting the royal styling, with no announcement at all. The titles would just stop appearing. So what would the children be left with? According to reports, Archie would become the Earl of Dumbarton, Lilibet styled Lady Mountbatten Windsor, private citizens with extraordinary bloodlines but no royal standing in the eyes of the British state. And here is the cruel twist. Meghan reportedly fought ferociously to secure those prince and princess titles before the coronation, in heated documented exchanges with palace officials, and she won. Yet within a day of William's accession, that hard-won victory could reportedly be quietly dismantled. And should Harry ever challenge it in a British court, he would reportedly walk into a perfectly designed trap. How can a man who loudly renounced working royal life argue before a judge that his children deserve the very royal identity he himself rejected? But the titles are only the beginning, because the next loss reportedly strikes at something most people assume is untouchable: their money. From the outside, it looks like an empire: the $100 million Netflix deal, the Spotify contract, the spare advance. But beneath it all reportedly sits a hidden foundation about to vanish. For years, Harry allegedly had a secret financial lifeline almost no one knew about, flowing quietly from the Duchy of Cornwall, while Charles directed a portion of it toward his son. No announcement, just a father making sure his boy did not sink. Because Harry's American life is reportedly expensive in ways people underestimate, with security alone costing millions a year, a draining legal war against the tabloids, and the daily cost of running everything in Montecito. Did one Netflix deal cover all of that? Reportedly not. Charles was allegedly filling the gaps. But the duchy now belongs entirely to William, who has no legal obligation, no emotional motivation to send a single pound toward his brother. The instant Charles closes his eyes, those quiet checks reportedly stop, and the full weight of the Sussex's costs lands on them all at once. So when Harry finally feels that number with no cushion beneath it, what happens next? The next blow reportedly falls on a house. Frogmore Cottage, on the grounds of Windsor, is the one thing Harry and Meghan held through every storm, a physical reminder that a door in Britain remained open to them. According to reports, William could take it back, and far. Within the first day, a formal review of every grace and favour residence on the Crown Estate is reportedly triggered, governed by a simple, unforgiving rule: you are either a working royal with active duties, or you are out. Harry and Meghan live permanently in California with no working duties and have spent years describing the institution in scathing terms. They reportedly do not come close to meeting the standard. What would arrive is a quietly worded, completely final letter, a short window to collect belongings, and then the door closes. And the cruelest detail, the Crown Estate had reportedly been absorbing the upkeep of that largely empty house the entire time, paying to keep it warm while the couple told the world how that same institution had damaged them. When they fly in for Charles's funeral, there would reportedly be no familiar door waiting, only a hotel. Then comes the fight that has consumed more of Harry's energy than anything else: state security. Harry reportedly argued in court that his situation in Britain is uniquely dangerous, and he lost, then appealed, speaking with raw anger about the fear of bringing his children home unprotected. Through it all, he could always lean on one argument, that as the son of the reigning monarch, his security was tied to the Crown's interests. The moment Charles passes, that argument reportedly dies with him. Harry would become merely the non-working brother of the king. The body called Ravek would reportedly trigger a review on day one, and the outcome is barely in doubt. And here is the chilling part rarely covered. Harry's private American contractors reportedly cannot legally carry firearms on British soil, so if he attends the funeral amid hundreds of thousands of mourners in a city where he has reportedly faced credible threats, the people guarding him would be unarmed and outside the royal perimeter. At Queen Elizabeth's funeral, there were reportedly desperate last-minute negotiations over temporary armed protection, and the answer was no. Under King William, that would reportedly stop being an emergency and simply become the settled rule. But the next loss reportedly cuts somewhere even more personal, into the one identity Harry believed was untouchable: the military uniform. Harry served 2 combat tours in Afghanistan, flew Apache helicopters in active war zones, and earned his medals in the field, not at a ceremony. By his own account, the military was the only part of royal life that felt genuinely earned. As sovereign, William becomes commander-in-chief, and the right to wear uniform at state occasions, including a monarch's funeral, is reportedly his alone to grant or deny. For working royals, it is automatic. For non-working royals, entirely at the king's discretion, a discretion previewed in devastating fashion at Elizabeth's funeral, when Harry stood in civilian clothes among men in full ceremonial dress. The photograph reportedly landed like a punch. Under King William, that would reportedly become the permanent rule, formalized within a day by the Lord Chamberlain's office. And the next loss is the most technical of all, which is exactly why most people miss how brutal it truly is: the Councillors of State. These are senior royals legally empowered to act for the sovereign when the monarch is abroad or unwell, signing state papers and receiving ambassadors, a role of real constitutional weight. Harry reportedly sits on that list by virtue of being the monarch's son, but the law has always required a UK domicile, and Harry is a permanent California resident. He reportedly fails the requirement already, but William is expected to go further, recommending Parliament rewrite the legislation with an explicit UK residency clause designed to make any challenge impossible. When it passes, Harry would reportedly be erased from the very legal framework that gives senior royals their standing, not in the room, not in the document, not even referenced. So what would he have left? He remains in the line of succession, but as one scholar reportedly put it, that is less a position of power and more a very long waiting list, a name in a phone book, present but unreachable. And the next loss reportedly turns that erasure into something the whole world can see: protocol. In the monarchy, where you stand is never an accident. The choreography of every event, who processes where, who sits in which pew, is a precise public statement of standing. Within a day of a session, planning for the protocols around a monarch's death reportedly begins, and in every setting, Harry and Meghan's physical position would reportedly be coldly defined. Harry would reportedly fall outside the inner circle. Meghan would reportedly be treated as a private guest. They might not even walk in the main procession, perhaps directed to travel by vehicle while working royals process on foot, their seating visible but insignificant. The palace would announce none of it. The exclusion would live only in the photographs, and that same quiet erasure reportedly extends to the official record itself. The royal website, which functions almost as a constitutional document, would reportedly move them out of the working royal section into something closer to extended family, positioned below the Princess Royal and the Duke of Kent. Because every media outlet and corporate partner checks that site first, the reclassification would reportedly ripple outward everywhere. And for Meghan especially, sources note, once the palace recasts her as a private citizen, she is no longer a duchess the palace wronged, but simply a woman it no longer recognizes. The losses then reportedly reach into history itself. Much of what made Spare so explosive reportedly drew on Harry's access to the royal archives, private records tracing the House of Windsor, access entirely at the sovereign's discretion. William would reportedly have no obligation to grant it, especially after those materials produced something damaging, and along with it would go the royal muse, the royal collection, official travel, and staff resources. If Harry wished to see a painting, he would reportedly book a public viewing like anyone else, and quietly, the Sussex office, the small unit that handled their correspondence and gave them a real footprint on British soil, would reportedly cease to function under William's efficiency review, severing the last official back channel to the crown. Which brings us to the 12th and final loss, the one that ties every other together, the door of return. Under Charles, a door reportedly remained, never opened but never locked, because he never wrote his son off entirely. William, by all accounts, would extinguish that flame not with anger or a public statement, but through the sum of all 12 losses combined, turning what was once an exile by choice into something far more permanent. Because here is the truth the whole story builds toward. Harry left in 2020 to find freedom, and in some sense he found it, but he reportedly built a version of himself still entirely defined by the institution he walked away from, his commercial value tied to the crown, his children's identity tied to titles he rejected. And without Charles as the living link to all of it, that last thread reportedly disappears. So which of these 12 losses do you believe would hurt the most? And do you think this door truly closes forever? Tell me in the comments, and if you want the next chapter of this unfolding story, stay close. This is Royal Pulse, where whispers around the crown come to light.